Those would make a good background. Eh? I mean the camera roll behind the scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Hi Simeon, how are you doing? And
I'm good. I'm good, and you?
yeah, I'm very good. A bit tired, but here we are on our second episode.
Yes,
Yeah, so I'm gonna allow you to say hello, and then we'll get going.
yes. Here it's morning. It's about 11:17 morning, everyone.
Mhm.
Let's go
So
on.
thank you so much for of people for joining us. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you those who have called. You've reached out some with and I think the series. I'm very surprised at the response that we have got, Simeon, from people who are wanting to know more and asking to know more. How did it start? Where did it? And how did you give us step by step how you managed to overcome uh, the addiction. So we did a previous series. If people haven't watched it, please go back and watch the first part that we did, and that was introducing my brother Simeon and how he overcame drug and alcohol misuse, and the processes that he has used, his own invention to maintain sobriety for now 2 years, Simeon,
It's more than 2 years.
more than 2 years of
Yeah, but
sobriety.
one thing I realized, or one thing I decided to do,
Mm,
is never to count the period. That's what I did for myself.
yes.
When you're on statistics like that, when you're counting, when you're doing a time period that, oh, I've gone 2 weeks, I've gone a month, I've gone 3 days, I've gone a year. When you kind of fall back, you're like, okay, the other time I did 2 weeks, now I'm going to do, I've done more than, I've done 3 weeks. I don't know, it doesn't seem to work that way for me. I
Yeah.
just don't want to know about the time frame, so I decided not to record the time or
Yeah.
decide. And I mean, I'd like tell I've done a year or something, but I know I've done more than 2 years.
To
But
reduce
I don't want to
it reduces the
zero it,
pressures, yeah, of and the
to
worries of
reduce.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. On the worries of say, that time I did it 2 weeks. Now I've done it one day. I've failed. So you keep putting pressure on yourself and worrying yourself over nothing,
Yeah.
because it is a situation that exists,
Yes.
and I'm still addressing it. So that's
Yes.
how I do it. I don't usually put
Are
a time
you are
frame.
you when you say you're still addressing it, are you saying you're addressing it's going to be your life's journey now?
It is my life's journey. Reason being, when I started on it, say the hard drugs,
Mm,
it wasn't like it's when you're quitting, it doesn't just happen automatic. It is a continuous process.
yeah.
It's like I started learning my ABC.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when you start your education, um, you keep going and you keep learning you from one year, one phase to another level to another level.
And the words, and
So
then you string them together, and then it's just
yes,
grow. The human
yes,
being doesn't stop growing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm. So we're gonna start from here, Simeon. How from the background? Give us a little bit of the background of your childhood, because we want to to get context on what was your life like before all of this started.
Well, being the last born, of course, I got all the love you could ever imagine, and the pampering, and you know what happens with the last borns, and this kind of, should I say, softened me in a way,
Mm,
and I was always afraid of what's out there, and I had more protection with my family people than out there, so I was afraid of what's out there. You
Can
wanted
you
to
see?
ask something?
Yeah, I wanted to ask. When you see me itching, I think you now know me
Hmm.
well. I want to just ask, when you say
Hmm.
pampering, give us examples of that pampering. What was the how were you pampered by
You're
your
getting the goodies. Your siblings, your parents, the relatives are coming in and they're getting the floor. You're getting all the love, all the acknowledgements. You're not in wrong. Um, you're getting the beautiful portions. You basically, life is all good.
You
your
got your
favored.
inheritance before while your parents were still alive.
Yeah.
That was
Mm-hmm.
that was part of the pampering that you had. Everyone was
Mm-hmm.
just rooting for you to succeed, to make it in life. And
Sure.
yeah, and you never did any wrong. We bear in mind that you were also that your personality, because what you were very mild in your
Mm.
personality, so you
Sure.
were so lovable even as a child. Hmm.
Yes, and well, this as I grow up, I'm afraid to do wrong. I'm afraid to wrong people. I'm always trying to please people because I was always pleased, and I'm trying to bring back the same. But somehow the world isn't operating that way, and the people you're pleasing, you come to realize they're not interested in probably what you're doing for them. So somehow I ended up being taken advantage of in several ways, and all this also affected me because I never wanted to show people what I was going through. So it started affecting me in a way, and I started looking for a way to combat this. And in so doing, I started the cigarettes, the alcohol. Somehow I started all that. And yes, you wanted to ask something?
Right there.
Mm.
Take us to that day, that the first drink, the first.
Well, the first drink,
Yeah.
this was at there was a function at home, and there was this leftover liquor in the bottles, and say alcohol. So I tried it out. There was this numbing effect. It was bitter, but there was this numbing effect, and afterwards I was feeling there was a different state of mind, and as I somehow enjoyed it. I did enjoy it.
Mhm.
So from then on, I kept taking alcohol, like sipping, say my parents' alcohol. Yeah, my mom used to drink,
Mhm.
and I would take her alcohol. I would steal bits,
Yes.
and she used to love the liquor. So
Yeah.
I would replace. I would take the liquor. I would take some of it and replace it with water,
Yeah.
so she wouldn't tell that her liquor had been taken.
Mhm.
So, and I would enjoy this. No one would know. I would enjoy this process. So I
Mhm.
kept on graduating
Mhm.
and enjoying the alcohol in the process.
So
So that's how I began. Yes.
you're not gonna
Yes.
play. I'm not gonna play innocent, because when I found out that you were taking some of mom's liquor, and when people were looking at the families, they used to see us. Some people believed we were perfect, but we were not a perfect family. We had our challenges. And when I found out that you were taking some of mom's liquor, then I joined the club and I started. So I'm not going to feign all the innocence in the world. We're not going to do that. Otherwise, we're not being open and transparent here.
Mm.
And so we started to say, Simeon, it took too much now. See where they're going to catch us. And then, because you're putting some water, I'm putting some water. I, and did mom ever find out that we were doing that?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Probably, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
So then what happens is I eventually graduate to drinking and cigarettes. Of course, I get introduced to it. Peer pressure. The groups were too cool, and they're doing all this stuff. You want to fit in,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all this stuff going on, and somehow we start the parties, even in school. In school, you escape to go and drink, and it's this. There's this particular incident that happened.
Mm-hmm.
I remember there was dad as in school, and dad had for before he went.
Mm.
He had a brief.
So Simeon, again, I'm losing you. I think someone is trying to call you on the other side. If you can come out and come back really quickly, that would help. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Was I talked to a few friends. I was like, you guys, look here now. This is
So I think somebody is trying to call Simeon, and that always interrupts the network. And I would like to ask people, if you do see Simeon live, please don't call him because it interrupts his flow. But on the whole, he's talking about a good childhood, relatively good childhood. Simeon went to good schools. He was provided for by his parents. I don't think that there was a lot of, I mean, compared to other children at the time, he definitely had a lot more going for him. He went to university. He went all the way to university, graduated, and in fact, I think he got an upper second. So he was brilliant, but he always had that hex of the alcohol. Now we don't know um, why some people become addicted to the extent that my brother did, but this is a situation we found ourselves in, because I myself, I did have a sip or two and a drink, and I had a phase in my life where, yes, I did drink some alcohol, but I managed to overcome and outgrow that stage, and which he didn't, which he just declined from. So when he comes back, which I'm thinking that he is going to come back very soon. And remember, these are live streams, so I cannot control how network plays up. So please bear with us when he's being interrupted. So considering his kind of child of upbringing, he would have been very much on considered a child from a well-off family. But this doesn't mean that there was no challenges. Like I said before, there were challenges growing up at home. My father never used to drink alcohol at all, but my mother, she used to drink alcohol, and so that left us vulnerable. And there were other vulnerabilities in the home and from outside as well. For example, my mom was full working. She was a working woman. She worked in a bank, in cooperative bank. My dad was a lecturer at the university, so there was an absence. And over the weekends, my parents liked to go to the village. We had a farm, so they liked to go to the village to to um, to tend the animals. So they would leave us at home with house helps most of the time. So we had a lot of time to ourselves when we were much younger. So those are the gaps that would have existed, and plenty more other gaps that existed in our parenting. Although the we had Christianity as part of our lives. We were born in predominantly our parents. My dad grew up in a Christian home. His father was a preacher. It didn't take away from the fact that there was gaps. My parents also married quite young, and they had, by 21, my mom had the three of us at this point. So she was a young parent. She had other children, other children to look after, who would have been her sisters and brothers. And I think these were quite many. We had around 11 of my aunties and uncles that my mom and dad were also supporting, because my grandmother had separated from my grandfather at the time. So you can see that there was vertical stressors and horizontal stressors within the family, and those are the gaps that sort of create situations where children are being left vulnerable. Even children from good homes are being left vulnerable to external influences. And this is what I think happened for Simeon. He was vulnerable for all the reasons that I have given that I have given. Oh, I should try to let him in. I think he's trying to get in. Let me just go for him. Give me a minute. Yeah, he's back.
Oh, am I back? It gets
Yeah,
so frustrating when it goes off.
I know, but
Yeah,
people have to bear with us. We will. People have to bear with us. Yeah,
I, I, I almost shed a tear there. But
yeah.
anyway, just joking. The thing is, so I get, as I tell them this thing, they tell me you need to get some and we party. So I get some, I go get some little bit. Then we use the money. It's done. I go get some more.
Simeon, I'm
I,
sorry, but I'm gonna have to take you back because you left us on
yes.
a cliffhanger. We didn't hear much of it because of the network. When Dad got poorly, can you go back to that part, please?
When?
When Dad was poorly, he was going for an operation. You're talking
Yes,
about,
yes, yes.
yeah, yeah.
So I told a few friends of mine about the money that was in the briefcase, and were like, "Well, you need to get some." No, actually, I'd gotten some already, and I
And that
showed
money
them
was
some.
for your treatment for Daddy because we
Yeah, yeah,
lost
I'd
a big
gotten.
chunk of what you were saying. If you could just start it all
Yes,
over again, yeah.
yes, I got some of it. So we used some of it. Then, when it was depleted, I got convinced to go back and get some more. So I kept doing that, and then they were like, you know what? When you keep doing that, they'll realize someone is taking it. I think you should get all of it. They won't tell who took it. It will be like someone came in and probably robbed. So that's what I did, and I got all of it, put it somewhere, so we kept partying on it and enjoying ourselves. Then when I go back to school, you tell me that they got in some sniffer dogs. The dogs have identified it was my scent and all that. It was a long story. So the guy they got to know that was me who had taken the money. So from that point, I think that was a point when my life really changed a lot,
Mm.
and that's when I really got deep into the partying stuff and all that, and the additives, the drugs, rather the cigarettes, alcohol. Then later I graduate to the marijuana. That's the cannabis. Um, it's considered a herb. I'm like, that should be okay. I mean, it isn't like any other drug. They had drugs. So as we're partying, we're doing all that. I'm getting some bits of money. I'm doing a few errands, businesses, and getting into the real estate, something like that. So I'm starting to make a little bit of money. Then the partying increases. I graduate to bigger things, and the hard drugs come in, and that's when I lose it.
When you say hard drugs, what drugs are you talking
Yeah.
about? What drugs are you
Uh,
talking
here I'm talking about crystal meth. I'm talking about cocaine, crystal meth, ecstasy. Yeah, that's about it.
about? Mm,
And I could have tried some other drugs. Yeah,
mm.
yes.
And so when you start taking these drugs, what changes are you seeing around you in terms of of your achievements, your family? What changes are you noticing? Or are you at that point, are you not seeing anything? Are you,
At that point, it's all about me
yeah.
and the drugs. So it's my heat, the alcohol, the party, and what goes with the party. Believe me, everything that goes with the party and with the drugs and alcohol.
Hmm. Hmm.
Been there, done it, know everything about it.
Yeah. So
Mm.
when you look back at your 14-year-old self, because that's when the alcohol started. Do you
Yeah.
think what would you tell people or parents who are not wanting parents or who are wanting to protect their children? What would you tell them would have been the best way? Because I remember Dad was trying to have conversations with you around
Yeah,
your
yeah.
years. It
Taking me
wasn't.
to the counselors. I mean, we had an appointment. He took me to the counselor. I got all this counseling. Yeah, yeah. Go on, go on.
So as at is there anything that your parents could have done differently to prevent you from going downhill at that point?
One thing I want to tell people is
Mm,
this is the human being.
mm,
Now, whatever is there for the human being to consume, produce, and consume, say, now here we're talking about the drugs, alcohol, cigarettes. These are
mm,
things that are here to stay,
mm,
and they'll always exist. And the consumption is increasing
mm.
in places you could never believe.
Especially today's, you see people today saying children today, in fact, children from affluent homes are being more impacted than
Yeah,
any
yeah, yeah.
other group before.
Yes. So here the thing is, once you know that these things exist and they're here to stay, and any human being can access them and use them, which is what will happen, we need to go deeper into this and understand that we need to create, say, channels that take people's minds off certain things.
Mhm.
It's probably like programming the people,
Yeah,
but
and what I'm hearing from you, Simeon, is when you say creating channels, activities for children, because we don't
yeah,
have.
those are channels I'm talking about. These are channels I'm talking about. There's several ways to doing this. We
Mm-hmm,
can't mention everything and finish it, but we need to create channels where
mm-hmm,
people's minds are focused on different things, because we know that the drugs exist, we
mm-hmm.
know the good and the bad exist, we know what's happening out there. So what do we need to do here? We need to create avenues, create more opportunity
Yeah, that's a good
for
word.
people to how should I put it? One, let me put it this way: the humanity is a complex thing, like I said before.
Mm-hmm,
We are super, 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 and most of us don't know this, but each and every individual is super.
mm-hmm.
You can do things you could never imagine.
Yeah.
So if we could channel people to go deeper into understanding themselves, their inner selves,
Mm-hmm,
act more on that,
mm-hmm.
create avenues, create, I don't know how we should do it. There's so many ways.
Careers that are based on the things that they like
And the
to do,
things that they like, there's
and
channels like that, yes.
yeah, yeah.
And give them the opportunity to understand. And people should actually do more of this on their own. By doing that, you should delve more into research.
Mm,
Research onto, I mean, research, do research on things that benefit you.
mm,
Research more of yours, look more into yourself,
mm-hmm.
into yourself,
Yeah.
then you
Okay.
find out what's out there.
I think I
You
understand
get,
what you're saying, Simeon, is to get to know yourself is actually
yes,
what the answer is. Getting to know yourself and working with yourself is where you will
yes.
find the satisfaction of life, and perhaps you from prevent others from the frustrations of life and using alcohol and drugs as
Mm.
a support mechanism. So, Simeon, I want to ask you this: what was the impact on your children, and give us some detail, because we did talk about it last time. The
Mhm,
family did break down, but what was their experience like? Oh, I know that I can fill in some of those gaps for you because you wouldn't have
mhm,
known what the experiences are,
mhm.
but your mental health.
I know what the experience was.
Yeah, please go on then.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, now I'm going to give my experience first. The thing is, there's so much guilt that goes on. You know, when you're using substances,
Hmm.
you're you know that you're not doing something right,
Hmm.
and you know you're affecting people. So the guilt eats you up. Now you're fighting that guilt,
Hmm.
and in so doing, you're affecting so many people
Hmm.
because you're not communicating well with the children. The communications that were good are now severe. They're no more.
Hmm.
You can't have a good conversation because when they're talking with their mother, they are discussing things that are affecting them, how you're affecting them, and everything is going wrong.
Hmm.
The children look, when you look at them, you sense fear in them, and you're doing, at times you're doing that intentionally.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, I can hear you.
You can
Oh,
hear
sorry.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you
Yeah,
now. Yeah.
for them not to question you. You don't want anyone to be questioning you at that moment, at that point in time.
Yeah.
You just want to do your thing and go on. You don't want, you're
So
not
they're
looking at,
annoying you as well as making you feel guilty. You're also getting angry.
and now you're responding to what they're feeling. So
Mm.
you're fighting their feelings, and whatever goes on in there is so much. So I can only imagine what they were feeling at that point in time.
So I'm gonna give the perspective of what I was feeling and what I know that the family members were struggling with was in communicating with you. You were very angry half the time, even without explanation. There was a lot of anger that was going on. I think because you knew that, when you're not going through something, you can be judgmental in the way you're conversating with people who are struggling with things like addiction. Now, bear in mind at this point in time, your mental health has deteriorated, and yet we are speaking to you like we're expecting you to rise up and just, tomorrow I've stopped drinking, which was never going to happen. So, but for
Yes.
the children as well, I hope that we'll have the opportunity to bring the children on in the future episodes, so they can tell us their story. But for us as siblings, we were broken. We were there was embarrassment, there was shame, because we didn't want we just worried what the outside world at the time, what they thought of us.
Mm.
It's also been a learning journey for us to learn to 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 not put so much emphasis on the outside world when your loved one is going through addiction, to stop giving them as much weight, because actually they're rooting for you, they're wanting to see change, they're sympathetic, but you're having the emotion of embarrassment, which it shouldn't be, because there's many families struggling with substance misuse. So I'm gonna wind this up, but I
Yeah.
won't
But the
wind it.
thing is, when we come to realize that these things do exist, that's where we should tackle this from. We should
Yeah,
take this from.
yeah,
We just have to show people what's happening, and
yeah,
the more we come out, the better it is for society. Because
yeah.
when we keep this within the confines of our immediate family,
Mhm.
there's more torture.
Yes.
There's more torture. So when you come out, somehow there'll be people laughing, people will be saying everything, but there'll be those who respond in a different way, and
Mhm.
somehow those connections will help, because you could easily get help from out there. You
Yeah.
could easily, because at times the immediate family doesn't have the finances, doesn't have the know-how, the technical know-how,
Resilience. Yeah.
and people out there know these things. So the more we come out and talk about these issues, the better it is for society.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's
100.
my opinion.
I
As
agree.
opposed to stigmatizing, because when you stigmatize, you worsen this problem.
And the country
Someone is
was. Yeah.
someone starts running away and they worsen. They are escaping from society and they worsen. But if you show them some love, because it's not that everyone is going to heal, no. But
Mm.
what does it mean when your loved one doesn't heal? Are you going to reject them? No, you shouldn't. Keep showing them the love, much as they might be irritable, they might be a nuisance, a total disgust. Keep giving the love, show the love. This will keep helping people to somehow sober up. But
Mm.
when you're taking those drugs, the alcohol and everything, and you're getting these bombardments that you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be okay, you're not supposed to be doing this, you're you're gone, you're everything.
Yeah.
they're creating more escape for you. They're giving you more leverage for you to carry on
Get
and
worse
go
and
deeper,
resist
go
them, and
deeper.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
You're like,
I,
now these
I'm
guys
very
are
cautious
fighting me.
of
They're
the
put.
time
Yes,
because you can't believe
yes,
it.
yes,
I've been
sure.
talking for
You've
30 minutes.
gone more than the 15 was supposed to go to.
This
We're
is
into the
what,
30.
yes, I know. This is what I want
Mm,
to finish off with. This is
mm.
your book that you're going to be releasing very soon. And I
Yes.
want to just allow me to read an extract because we've talked
Sure,
about
go on.
the impact it had on
Yeah,
us. I want to read an
yeah.
extract of the letter that I wrote to you. And this is what we're talking about when we say um, that when you go hard on people that are struggling with substance misuse, you make a situation bad, you make it worse, a bad situation even worse. So in my despair, I write to you this letter. Do you want me to read all of it, or shall I just read a portion of it, Simeon?
Read the portion because we've got the time factor. People don't want to go long,
So
but
very quickly, I write.
mm,
I am writing
and we
this
don't want to
letter.
give out all the information in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
There's some nice stuff in there.
So this is what it says. Dear Simeon, I'm writing this letter with a heavy heart, feelings of despair and disappointment. It hurts me so much to see what you have become. You are now a shadow of your former self, oblivious to the devastation you have inflicted on your family. You have wasted your life on drugs and alcohol. You have caused pain and suffering for those who love you most. You have squandered every opportunity and left a trail of broken promises. You have failed our family in ways you cannot understand. You have brought shame to our parents, who gave up everything to give you the best start in life. Without a doubt, you have reached your lowest point. Can you tell me, and that's just a brief of that
That,
letter,
that,
how did
that
that,
was kind of that was kind of poetic.
yeah, I know. And at that time when you are receiving it, what was
At
your
that
feeling?
time, I was like, "Oh, here she is again.
Yeah,
Big sister is giving me all this. Ah, come on." I just rubbished it off immediately.
yeah. Did it make you angry as well?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Of course it did,
Yeah,
because it touched me. Then I was like, no, I need to rubbish this off, because no, 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 no. And like how I mean, because you are relating me to people that have gone down, say relatives that have gone down the drain, and friends. I was like, how dare she? How dare she? How dare she? No,
who does
that's
she
not
think
me.
she is? Yeah.
Yeah, who does she think she is? Ah,
And I think also for me, that was my learning curve because after sending that letter, we had years. Is that when there was years of quietness? We were not talking anymore for about 3, 4 years. But
yeah.
I think when I reflected, because my character can be quite hard, when I reflected,
Oh, you do love to wrestle. You do love to wrestle.
so
Woo.
when I did reflect on it, I was like, that was unkind. It looked like I was doing the right thing, but it was the most unkind letter, and I have to apologize to you for that. Please do forgive.
Accepted. But the thing is,
Yeah,
it had an impact on me as well. But I just decided to rubbish it off, because at that point in time, you're looking at your the substances are taking their toll, and you don't want to accept. And you're like, you start cutting off, you start escaping completely,
mhm,
you start going deeper and deeper and deeper. So
yeah,
that's what happens. But we need to look more into the self, and as we are trying to look for approaches to these things,
yeah,
even the people that think they are not affected need to be getting treatment.
yeah,
People around you, society, family members.
yeah,
So you guys need to be getting treatment as well. As
yeah,
I'm seeking my treatment, you guys need to be getting treatment as well, because you got affected by it. And you
absolutely.
guys do not know this. You
Yes,
think I'm the one who got affected, but you guys are affected.
yeah.
So
That's a good
um,
way to
you
end.
guys also need treatment. So you guys need to work on yourselves as I work on myself, to
Mhm.
get a better approach, or to get I don't know, to make it better,
My
a
brother,
better world.
Simeon, you're
Mm.
a star. You're a star.
You think? You think?
Yeah, you're a star. You're a
Woo!
star. And we're going to end it at that. We shall continue this for
Okay.
35, 36 minutes.
I'm a star. I'm a star. I'm a star. According to, and whatever you say, that's it.
Yeah, that's the end of it. Yeah, you're a star. Thank you so much.
Okay.
See you later. Okay, cheers.
All right,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Bye.